Sometimes the best fighter in the world could get a lucky punch and get knocked out. Just had to say it, didn't I? Just had to say that. Welcome to the next installment of Grimsby America, only on the False 9 TV channel. And I appreciate you coming back to the show. And if you have not already, I'm almost at 300 subscribers. And I think at this point of recording this video, I think I'm 16 away. I'll put it up on the screen. So if you haven't already, please drop me a subscribe. It means a lot to me. And I'm getting close to that 500 mark, which is where I can start monetizing some things on the channel. So I would appreciate it very, very much if you would hit subscribe. So let's get into the actual show and what we got to talk about today. Well, we've got a lot to talk about with the men's team. We've got some things to talk about with the women's team. And honestly, we've got a lot to look forward to. And I've got a lot to say about the men's game, and we'll get into it in a second. But first, I do want to say that, it had to happen at some point, right? And we did meet defeat for the first time this season. And I don't think it's as bad as a lot of people that I've read on X have said it is, which again, shameless plug, follow me on X if you don't do so already. And, that Manchester United high seems to have, I mean, I don't want to say it's faded into the background because it's always going to be there. Like we're always going to be able to say where we were when that Wednesday night happened. But at this point, it seems like it's in the rearview mirror a little bit. And as a certain tag team from wrestling used to say, it's a new day. And it is a new day for Grimsby, and it's a new day for Grimsby America. So let's go ahead and get right into the content. So let's talk about the ladies first. The ladies played their final action of the preseason today. Well, I say today at the recording of this video. I don't really know when it's going to be released, but when I'm recording this, it was today. And it took about an hour of gameplay before something actually happens, which was a goal of the opposition. And although it was late game dramatics, as Town did pull out a last minute at the death goal, which was, I believe, by Millie North, who scored in the 90th minute. But the most concerning thing about this game, at least to me, was in let me see if I can find it, the exact time it was. It was in the 30-something minute. Let's see here. The 39th minute, there was a change made for Chloe Green. And if you don't know Chloe Green, she, at the time of signing, I don't know if she still is or not, she was the youngest player to sign for the team. And for her to be 16, I think, years old, coming out on the 39th minute, if you know in the comments what this substitution was for, was it strategic? Was she just getting hammered out there? Or did she pick up a knock or something? I'd really like to know in the comments on that one. And there actually was there also was an earlier substitution about roughly 10 minutes before this in the 24th minute where Laura Flecknor came off and she appeared to pick up a heavy knock. So I'm curious as to see what the Chloe substitution was for. So it looked like a pretty physical game. Granted, I'm still trying to get them to broadcast some of these home games on YouTube. It's crazy that here in the States, I can watch the Vietnamese league, but I can't watch the women's team for Grimsby. That's insane to me. Spam them in the comments to YouTube some of their games, at least the home games. Give these girls some exposure. So that said, they did pick up, well, if the game counted towards something, it would have been a point. But still, late game dramatics would have been a cool game to see if you were there live. And so the next game for the women, it counts. So looking forward to seeing the start of the real season for them and hoping to build off the late season form and the preseason form where they only tasted defeat one time. And most of these games, they look pretty dominant. So excited to see what the season holds for them. So like I said in the last video, we're going to be skipping lads on loan, and we're going to be talking about the men's game, that just happened. So the men, we did defeat 1-0 to the Bristol Rovers, and I'll get into my final game thoughts after I go over a little bit of notes here. And I've got a handful of things that I wanted to talk about with the game that we had just witnessed. Around the 18th minute, Kieran Green had just a beautiful setup for Kabia. It was in the 18th minute. It was all from Green. Green had the setup. He had the pass. He had the thread needle to Kabia, who was offsides. But I'm going to be honest with you. I mean, the flick did go in, but at that point, I think the keeper just kind of laid off because he knew he was offsides. But still, the build-up and the play for this, I thought, was absolutely beautiful. And had he not been offsides, we would have been talking about that play a little bit more, I think. And around the 24th minute, I do have note that there was a yellow given to Alamazor, which I thought was very harsh. And little did I know that it would kind of set the tone for what we were looking at from a referee standpoint, which, again, I'll kind of get into in a little bit after the game. 46th minute, McJanet had a block that was super, super nice. And I can't help but every time I see his name now think of our good friend on X, the McJanitor. So shout out to him. And it was around, I think, the 54th minute, I think it was, McJanet had another interception, which I thought kind of set the tone to pick up the pace a little bit for Town. And 59th minute, Christy Pym had a beautiful save. But what goes unnoticed about this, I think, is, the save was amazing. Don't get me wrong. The save was quality. But right after that, Rogers had a clearance that I think is going to go a little bit unnoticed just because we're all like kind of hyped from the save. But the clearance was great. And if he hadn't made the clearance, I think we would have been even more trouble. And speaking of Rogers, around the 65th minute, he had this beautiful thread pass to, who was it? Burns, I believe. And had he been able to connect on that one, ooh, man, that was. Go back and look at that pass if you haven't. It was gorgeous. And in the 80th minute, I also wanted to note that there was a free kick play that was clearly rehearsed. And I just think it was, again, had that been one of those things that would have worked, it was nice. It was nice, and I'm glad that we practice things like that. There's kind of causes a little bit of chaos, a little unusual when you least expect it. But I like seeing little shithousery trick house plays like that. That was nice. So at the end of the day, I do think this is a game that we probably should have got the draw for with the chances that we have, some of the chances that we did have. And I know David Artell has said that the first half of this game was the worst football we've played all year. But I want to say this. If that's the worst half of football that we've played all year, then my gosh, we have a hell of a team, and automatic promotion should be something we're aiming for. And secondly, the ref in this game, freaking atrocious. Let me watch my language there. Terrible, pure shit. I never want to see that ref again. And but anyhow, what I was going to say was, all things considered, I don't really think Town played dreadful. I really don't. I mean, was the first half kind of slow? Yeah, sure. But I don't think it was anything that necessarily we could have done insanely different. I think Bristol just came in with the Rovers came in with a game plan, and they executed it perfectly. And even though they executed this game plan perfectly, we still had chances. I'm not saying that we should have definitely won that game, but I don't think a draw was out of the question if something had went a couple of feet our way. But nonetheless, it was a loss, but I don't think it was a terrible loss. Don't get me wrong, any loss is not fun, but this is it's not like we lost 6-0. We made chances, we created opportunities, and we did so against a team that had clearly done their homework and came in with a very good game plan against us. So overall, I don't think it was that bad of a weekend. The women score a last minute drama goal to tie the game. The men frankly, I thought played our asses off and just got Bristol on a day that they were better than us. So that said, let's look into the future at what we got. So looking to the future, I think we've got two very tough games this week coming up for Town. And on Tuesday, I'm not going to focus too much on this game just because the Tuesday game is just you never know really what you're going to get from squads on these in these cup games, but I will say that we do have Bradford on Tuesday. And Bradford is playing very well in League One. In fact, they look like early on they look like they're going to be a team that's fighting for promotion to the championship. They're currently ahead of some pretty big clubs in the likes of Huddersfield and Luton. And goal scoring is not a premium for them. They're scoring pretty well, and just depends on what kind of Bradford team we see on Tuesday, I think, is going to determine what I think our chances in on that. So it's hard to predict those games. So let's go ahead and move on to our next actual league game, which is on Saturday against another tough opponent, MK Dons. Now, the MK Dons have played quite. Now, they did have a pretty big victory, 5-0. I forget who that was over. Other than that, they've been a pretty strong squad. I mean, their numbers match up pretty well against Town, and MK Dons is. I mean, obviously not counting Manchester United. I would argue that the Dons are probably one of the stronger squads that we've went up against this season so far. So, the Dons are coming off a loss this past weekend to 1-0, but they do have a much easier, I think, game on Tuesday than we have, and I think that's also going to be, they could build some confidence on Tuesday, and they could come in a little bit. I don't want to say a little bit high, on a high note, but I think they have a far better chance coming in with confidence to that game on Saturday than we do. And actually, let me look up here real quick. Where is the game at on Saturday? I believe it would be. Let me see here. Sorry to do this when I'm recording, but I honestly don't know who's the home team here. So it looks like. Yeah, that's what I thought. So it's at the MK. So it's at. It is at the MK Dons, which is a soulless stadium, 100%. But I do think it's one of the bigger stadiums in the League Two, I believe. But this might be the first time this year that I predict something that I don't like. I'm going to go on record here, like I always do, and say that Town is going to meet defeat again. But I do think we're going to make chances, just like we did on Saturday. But I think we're going to me, this has the makings of a 2-1 defeat. And prove me wrong. Please, please, please prove me wrong. I just think that leading up to Saturday, I just think they're going to have a little bit more momentum than we will. And, of course, them being the home team is going to give them a little bit of an extra edge. I hate saying that, but I do think we're going to meet defeat next weekend. Let me know your scores in the comments. Do you think we're going to meet defeat again, or do you think we're going to bounce back? I hope if you're one of the bounce back guys, I hope you are correct, and I am not. So there you have it. If you made it this far in the video, you may as well drop me a subscribe. Thank you for watching. Whatever you have coming up this week, if you've got any special plans, or if you're hoping for something good to happen, whatever you're hoping for, I hope it comes true. Thanks for watching. Stay safe, guys.